Hi Year 10. So we're going to begin with recall as normal. Write down the answer to each of these questions based on your prior learning. If you get stuck, look back through your book, or you could always Google it. Pause the video to complete this task. Okay, so today we're looking at Part B. We looked at Part A in our last lesson. I want you to understand how to answer the question, and we're going to complete a plan today. So first of all, this is an example of a Part B. The Part A, we looked at Stage 4 and the atmosphere created with the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, and how Scrooge was very respectful towards him. And now the Part B is how else do we see Scrooge's changed behaviour elsewhere in the novel. Things we need to look at. How is all about analysis, so a what, how, why paragraph. Scrooge's changed behaviour is the focus here, so we don't want to move off focus. We don't want to start talking about Tiny Tim or Bob Cratchit. We want to talk about Scrooge specifically and how he's a miser at the beginning and he's a lot kinder towards the end. And elsewhere just means don't use the extract, so we won't use any quotes, any quotations from the extract we looked at in the previous lesson. So open your assignment on Teams or Class Charts, whichever you prefer using, and complete the first question. The first question is, what does Dickens use Scrooge to represent? So you've read one question, which we are going to be answering, but I really want you to think about Scrooge as a made-up character and what he represents on a wider scale. And if we answer this question, it's going to make the rest of the learning much easier. Things to think about to help. Think about the contextual information you already know and the lessons Dickens wants us to learn throughout the novella with Scrooge. So pause the video and have a go at answering this question. Okay, I'm actually going to give you a hand with this question, just so we can bulk out our understanding later. So add to your initial thoughts, stick it in a different colour so that when you come to revise, you can see the bits you've added later, and they'll stand out a little bit more. So what does Scrooge use? What does Dickens use Scrooge to represent? Scrooge represents all the values that are opposite of Christmas. So he represents greed, selfishness, and a lack of goodwill to others. But we know he changes as well. In a more complicated way and a more contextualised way, Scrooge symbolises the greed and ignorance of the aristocracy, so the upper classes of the Victorian era. They felt the best place for the impoverished or poor was in the workhouses or prisons. Okay, so I'm using some ambitious vocabulary here, but I've given you the meaning in brackets so you can start trying to use this within your answers to make them sound more sophisticated. So pause the video here and add some of this information to your plan. Okay, now I'd like you to read through the key quotation analysis section of your sheet and the example I have given you. It is going to tell you to start adding quotations, but I don't want you to do that just yet. I really just want you to read everything on that sheet. So read through the example, read through my quotation, read through the keywords I've looked at, the connotations, and the reader's reaction. This plan you can use for any Part B question as well. Okay, so now you've read through mine, you're just going to be doing the same thing with some of your own quotations. So you need to choose 3 quotations for yourself. You will find some on the next slide, so you can go through the novella yourself if you want, but I've also given you a list of quotations that you can choose from. You need to read through all of the quotations. That'll give you a better understanding of the novella, the structure, and what's going on, and then choose 3 that show Scrooge's transformation. Help, it will be best to pick one from the beginning, one from the middle, and one from the end so that you can show the transformation, you can show the change. So here are the quotations. Read through them all and pick 3. I've given you a little description at the front, at the start of each quotation, just to help you out with where this quotation is from or what it's about. So pause the video and pick 3 quotations and add them to your plan. Okay, so now what you need to do is complete the additional boxes, referring back to mine as an example. So start with your first quotation, keep the quotations in the correct order of the novella so that it helps with the flow of your essay if we came to writing this. So you stick your quotation in, pick out some keywords. If you can name these keywords, even better. If you can't, don't worry. Or if you can spot any language devices or structural devices, brilliant. But if you can't, don't worry, just pick out some keywords. Then explore the connotations, so what it makes you think of, the analysis, so read through mine again, see what I've done, see if you can emulate that with your chosen quotation, and then explore the reader's reaction. Now, different readers may have different reactions, and you're getting really good at pulling apart the different ways people will be affected by the novella. So use that within your answer. Think about how the rich people or upper classes might react, and think about how poor people or the lower classes might react to certain elements within this story. So pause the video and have a go at completing the rest of the sheet. Okay, don't forget to upload, submit or email me your completed work. I look forward to reading it, and tomorrow's lesson, Friday's lesson, will focus on your understanding of Stave 5. Well done Year 10, you've done some fantastic work this half term, and we have nearly finished looking at the whole of the novella to move on to Romeo and Juliet next half term.